What's up, boys? We're back with some more of the Shapeshifter Formations 1.0 release. This game has a crazy amount of unlocks. I've done a couple more runs, so I've gotten most of the skill tree filled out now. I've gotten a couple of the artifacts unlocked. However, as far as I can tell, these seem to just be a higher rarity than legendary items. So they're extremely rare. You usually don't even find a single one in an entire run. But if you do find one, they can make a pretty big difference. I just don't really seem to find them that often. Each of the ships actually has a skill tree as well, and so do the weapons. So I'm going to be trying out this guy. His passive is that every once in a while, every 8 seconds, you will trigger any retaliation effects based on how much damage your ability deals. And then his active ability is a little circle area of effects that triggers a life leech effect on enemies, dealing damage every 4 times a second and healing you. So we're going to try and scale that up quite a bit, since we increase the damage and also improve the retaliation passive effect. And then in the tree we gain a bit of extra healing when low in HP, extra duration on the ability, heal strength. We can actually trigger the ability whenever we hit enemies, so we're going to try and get a fast attack speed to trigger it automatically through that. And then also, if enemies damage us, we also trigger it for free from that, and it has an AoE radius on that now. I don't have the tree filled out yet, since it actually takes quite a while for that. So we're going to lock that guy in, and then we're going to go for the chain gun, since it has a very fast attack speed. We're turning that into a fast attacking shotgun effect. It's very inaccurate, but with the leeching effect, maybe we can build our survivability up enough that we can stay in close range and hit with all the shots at the same time. Extra fire rate accuracy, lots of extra accuracy on hits, chance for the projectiles to bounce, extra fire rate if we can keep the precision stacked up, and then random elemental status effects based on firing. And then down here, I think we can probably ban, we have to select the chain gun. I think we can probably ban the fire tag completely, and then we can choose one tag that we'll see more of. I don't think you can double up. You can see that armor is actually grayed out there. This guy should have retaliation, right? Armor retaliation. Okay, I guess you would have to select retaliation to get that. But I think we're actually going to try the ability tag, because there is a very cool epic ability thing. So I found out there actually is an auto fire mode. You have to go into the settings and disable sharpshooter mode, which gives you a bonus to XP and shop prices. And there's no way to have like auto fire with manual aiming, so it's kind of a double whammy to actually have that active and not have to keep left mouse button click down, which is kind of weird. Not really sure why we can't just have auto fire and no auto aiming. Since there's no reload mechanic, there's not really any functional difference between those. So transfusion and efficiency are both pretty nice. That's not bad either. This is glitched, so we definitely want that. The ability cooldown is a little bit annoying for one of the pretty cool epic items, but I think we'll go ahead and grab both of these anyways. So there's an epic item that gives you ability duration. It lowers the cooldown on your ability actually, but you gain a stacking ability damage boost based on how long the cooldown is. So if you get a few copies of those, the cooldown will be super long and you'll have massive ability damage. And then with this ship we can apply those for free anyways and kind of mitigate the downside. I think we can banish that. Probably banish that. That's fine, that's good. Single status effect, I think we can banish that as well. These are all fine. I think we'll get this to get a bit of healing going, and with our passive we'll actually trigger that for free every once in a while as well. Yeah, with our fast attack speed and whenever we take damage we'll apply the ability for free, so we should have a decent number of triggers on that. even though we want to get the cooldown to be fairly long on it. On hit, chance to apply corrosion, that's not bad. Chance for an additional shard, that's very good to get early on. That's pretty good as well. Above 80% health, that's kind of hard to use and only active for 1/5 of the fight, so probably banish that. Chance for enemies to explode, that's not super useful, but we can alterate that to another legendary. Random additional status effects. That's not bad. I think we'll lock that and grab the shard thing super early to be greedy. So shards in this game level you up, and then you can also spend them in the shop for extra upgrades, so you've got kind of a double scaling effect there. So if we can get some of those extra shard bonuses super early on, I think that's going to be pretty valuable. Light orbs strike enemies with lightning. Oh, that's glitched, so I guess we'll want to lock that so we can get 2 copies of that and grab our legendary now. There are definitely better legendaries than that, but I think we can get pretty good value from some of the frost and corrosion stuff. There's quite a few frost things based on either taking damage or healing that will fit in very nicely with the build. And then getting some corrosion on hits pretty nice since it's just a global damage amplify. So we can go ahead and take the 2 copies of that. Man, I want that as well. Ability damage and crit chance together, that's super good. We're kind of burning through our lockups, but oh well. 2 copies of that I think is going to be too good since we're probably going to have a lot of light orb based stuff for healing later on. I do want that. I think we can banish that. Honestly, all of these are decent, but that's definitely great. 20% damage and then crit chance on top of that. Damage fire light orb, that's pretty good. Glitch for that isn't that important. This is pretty good. 10% chance to drop a healing shard if you're at max health, and it actually increases your max health. I think if you get multiple copies of that, it only further increases the max health and not any of the healing or chance-based effects for it though. So 1 copy that's pretty good, but more isn't that useful unless you really need HP for some reason. But I'm more interested in armor for this build so that we can basically amplify our healing effects. Damage for every 100 shards you have. Okay, that's not terrible. This one's actually kind of interesting. We don't have any banishes left. I think we'll just go ahead and grab that. Oh yeah, there actually is a ship that you need to be carrying, I think 5,000 shards at one time to unlock. So we could actually try to do that with that item. Chance to shoot an ice spike, so that's decent with some of the other frost-based stuff. I don't know the exact mechanics on Frostbite, but it seems to just be a bit of extra damage as you apply the slowing effects. And 100% is a freeze effect. I don't think that part works on bosses, but you can make the mini elite enemies quite a bit slower at least. Random darker light orb, that's decent. That might actually be better if you can get a consistent way to trigger the orbs, since each stack of this is up to 20% orb strength, 4%, and it's only every 10 seconds. I guess we kind of do need some ways to actually trigger the orbs though. I think there's an on-hit one at blue rarity that would be very good with the spreading minigun. But a lot of the level up upgrades are dependent on actually finding a source to trigger them. And I don't want to go too greedy on the upgrades without actually having a source of them, I think. So we can't actually grab one of those now. Oh yeah, we can trigger the skill for some decent AoE damage every once in a while. Highest status, but lowers your other status. That doesn't sound super great. Damage at the cost of projectile and movement. I think that's fine. None of these are super important. Oh, I do have some free rerolls. Probably do that if we get a bunch of low rarity stuff. So I would actually like to try a bunch of copies of that. That's pretty nice as well. I don't think we're going to spend a lock on a common rarity though. Having the very close range weapon is a bit annoying on some of the bosses with punishing melee mechanics like constant nova effects though. But the idea is that eventually it will become tanky enough that I can actually take those hits and it won't be too much of an issue. Yeah, kind of hard to even do anything right now. Let's group these guys up and then use a big ability on them. On heal, so that's the heal amplify thing, that's pretty nice. This is actually glitched though, so I think we'll take this for the 2 stacks of big ability damage. They're all pretty decent though. I still think once you kill the boss it should automatically collect these shards. I don't really see a point to having to run around the entire arena. Big health, armor, bit of movement, lose a bunch of crit stats. It's pretty good for survivability, which I wouldn't mind. None of those are glitched, so I guess we'll take it, although it does lower my damage a bit. It's just so much survivability. We get some free items here. Accuracy, pierce is fine. Crit damage is fine. We can exchange 2 commons for a higher rarity. I don't think so. Chance for enemies to explode. That's not going to be super useful for my build, I think. probably just keep the resources. Explosion. Fire Dark Orb, that's okay. Construct stats. I think we're probably just going to keep all of my shards for that one thing that scales with them. Was it a purple? Yeah, that gives us damage, and then there's actually something in the skill tree that gives you like interest on your total resources as well. Locks and banishes or alters. Let's go over here and banish something else that's useless to me, I think. Yeah, 148 shards. So we get even more resources and damage off of that. On kill, extra damage, dark orb. Man, if I could just get the light orb version of that, it would be really good. So we can banish this construct thing now. None of these are super useful. I guess we'll toss a free reroll here, which is R. These aren't great either. You can just manually pick up everything, I think. I guess a bit of healing then. Or actually, the shards do get a bit smaller over time, don't they? I never noticed that before. Maybe pickup radius is helpful then. Dark orb, please give me the light orb. I guess probably the ability damage here. Since that is what we're trying to maximize on this build. Collect shards, and it's glitched. I mean, I guess we'll try that. That's not terrible. That'll pick up a bunch of stuff for us at least, and we don't really need the pickup radius now. We lose ability damage, so that's not the greatest. Fire rate and damage is not bad. The downsides are kind of annoying. They'll make it very hard to hit with all the shots at the same time, and armor is pretty important. I think I might just take this one. The lowered ability cooldown can be pretty cool if we ever find the epic ability thing. Ooh, this one is pretty cool. On heal or damage, you cause a Nova effect based on the damage you take. We can also get another copy of that. Oh man, all three of those are really cool. I think we'll probably lock that and then grab that right away. And then I guess on this run we just won't spend any shards and just keep stacking those up. I guess at least until we hit the cap and the 5,000 for the ship unlock. So how much damage does that put me at? Sir, okay, 50% it looks like for global damage, weapon ability, and all upgrades. And we're just under half of the cap on that. Oh man, there's just so many good things I need to lock down. So this is the ability thing I was talking about. It improves the duration but lowers the cooldown, and then every second it's on cooldown you gain a stacking ability boost. So if we can get a few copies of this, it'll have absolutely massive damage. So I guess we'll lock that again and grab this, but I also want that because it deals damage based on the damage we take and gives armor, but there's just so much good stuff here. So now we actually want to use the ability on cooldowns so that we always have very high ability damage, and then the free triggers we get from hitting enemies and taking hits from them will do a lot more damage. And that's why I wanted to kind of avoid ability cooldown. But I think the one blue that gives it is still pretty solid just because it has so many good stats on it. God, they're all so good. I'm gonna grab the Nova effect on healing and damage, I think. There's a lot of different things that will be triggering both of those, and the explosion is based on the amount that we take or heal, so that'll scale with ability damage and our passive as well. One thing I'm not sure on is I don't know if the ability's healing scales with damage. That just shows the base stats on it, and if you look at the stats, it doesn't say anything about that, just 24 damage per hit. So the healing might not scale with that. So we don't want to lower ability damage. I think I'm fine with throwing a reroll here. Dark Orb again. I guess probably just the spreading status effects. It's either that or the Dark Orb. I don't know. Another on-damage Light Orb, that's pretty good for a basic. Crit chance is fine. Movement speed ability damage is pretty good. I guess we can grab the shard thing, since that should pay itself off eventually. And then we'll hold the rest to maximize the shards. Reroll, one free level up, lock and banish. I think I like that one the most. Crit chance to restore health, that's pretty nice. That's not bad for a basic. I think we're gonna take... Wait! We did lower our crit chance, right? 10%. I guess that's still decent. Not the greatest though. There's a purple version of that that's just on hit instead of on crit, which is a lot better. On crits, I guess we may as well either that or armor. Okay, there we go. That's a very good one. I love that for uncommon, and we don't have any of those yet, but the on-hit healing is just too good with the spread minigun. I think we can take one of those now. Armor's not bad, but I definitely want some of those. I wonder, can we actually start taking damage to trigger Thorns effects and kill them faster now? So, this is actually glitched and pretty good. I think we will take that to improve the healing a lot here. 20 damage might be a bit too much still. Probably need to get a bit more healing before I do that a lot, but I think we can take some hits every once in a while to improve the AoE damage some. How much do those guys hit me for? 30? I guess that's not too bad if we get a really big trigger of the AoE ability effects, with all of them stacked on top of each other. Ability damage is good, duration is good, cooldown isn't the greatest. Those are okay. We could lock that and grab both of these and it wouldn't be terrible. I'd definitely rather have the other ability thing. But those two stats together are pretty good at 30%. So I guess that's fine. And then we can go ahead and grab that now. That's so many bullets. So we do improve the cooldown, which I don't love, but 20% duration is quite a bit. I guess that's technically helpful, not very good. Frostbite is okay. That's decent, but we're probably gonna go for max shards on kill, overkill damage. Most of our hits are pretty low damage, so probably not. Pre-shop, dual picks. I think that's pretty good. Do I have any free shops? No. Crits, chance to apply status effect again. I kind of like that now that we have at least one copy of the epic. We don't have that much crits. We have a bit of frost. I guess I should probably grab that. Just get some shots on them every once in a while to keep reapplying the on-hit ability, then we should slowly be able to whittle them down, I think. And our shard passive should be maxed out. So 90% global damage. On crits, apply corrosion. Ooh, I love this one for the builds. 150% of damage taken, so that will scale with ability damage, and we get armor for extra survivability to make our healing more effective. Let's toss a reroll onto this. Apply shock, not the greatest. Ooh, on damage, heal you for a percentage of the damage taken, and apply frost. Alright, things are starting to get pretty insane, so I hope our survivability is good enough now. I guess I should keep applying the ability to the elites in the middle by taking damage every once in a while. That should at least recover the damage I take from them and help us clear out some of this stuff. Oh my god, that is a lot of stuff now. Oh, I guess we can actually stand in these lasers to take a bunch of damage and trigger our on damage effects pretty rapidly. Yeah, I think we're actually healing off of that with all the light orb stuff. Oh god, I hate this boss. I could probably toss a reroll here. I guess that's fine. Oh, this will be a big help against this boss. This guy has absolutely insane bullet hell stuff, so he might actually need the healing from that. I have 4 copies of that, so that could be better. I think it's pretty close currently. They're both pretty good. Yeah, he just constantly throws the legs around. They constantly have explosions on top of them. And then as you start destroying the legs, he'll start shooting out some bullet hell mechanics from the center as well. I don't know how you could possibly avoid everything on this fight, so I feel like you just need like a ton of healing and survivability to get through it. This fight is honestly completely insane. And that's why I hope the orb stuff is good enough healing by now. I don't know how you dodge this stuff, dude. This is so insane. Like, I legitimately don't understand this fight. You need so much healing. And then now he gains even more bullet hell mechanics. So there's like a little burst all around this right at the end, so I think you have to dash through that part. And then there's this insane laser thing where you're also dodging bullet hell at the same time. This fight is so freaking ridiculous, man. And then now he adds in some slow zones on top of that just for good measure. I literally can't avoid stuff, man. This fight is so insane. And then sometimes you take damage even when you dash out of stuff to add insult to injury. I literally cannot imagine doing this fight and actually avoiding everything. It is so insane. Ooh, free copy of Cryospheres, that's pretty nice. Oh yeah, that is technically the final boss, so you can end the run there. I think we can go a bit further. Why not? Ability damage is decent. Oh, I have the thing. I'm not sure. We probably have to go through this level because I didn't get the completion there. Take one of these and move on. I guess that's fine because there's some more healing. Next items after killing the boss. We're not going to go that much further, I think. I don't know what that means. Guess that's probably the best. I didn't see the unlocks, so we might have to end the run with over 5,000 shards then? But I also might have just missed it when it happens. That is so many dumbbells rolling at me. That's pretty nice, that's pretty nice. That's glitched. Not the greatest though. We're almost at the end. It's kind of hard to lock down stuff like that though. We definitely need some copies of that for some more healing. Then if we can stand in the lasers, that will actually give me a lot of damage and healing. But yeah, we have done a full loop here, and we never even saw a single artifact. Just one legendary. So they are very rare and don't often make an appearance. Ooh, a laser. Ooh, 2 lasers. So those are both pretty good. I'm kind of curious what happens if we just get a ton of those. These are actually probably good to take hits from, since they don't do that much damage. You can get some extra thorns out that way. How much do these do? 7? That's actually really good as well. 30, so probably avoid the rolling attack. And then just get hit by all the range stuff he has. Maybe not that one, actually. Definitely that one. Maybe not the pillars when we're low on HP. Oh, that's actually a pretty good free loot from him. I guess it's fine. We got the epic ability thing, the blue ability thing. That's not the greatest, but it's fine. On ability, on hit, I guess that's fine. On damage, that's very good. On ability, we don't really manually cast it that much. More shards? Oh, it looks like the interest thing is capped as well. Ooh, lasers. That's decent. That's pretty good. I think we're gonna end it after the next boss, so we don't really need any more of that. gets really hard to see at this point with all the effects playing on top of your guy like that, and just constantly being knocked around. Should they even, like, knock me back that far when they are barely even damaging me? Grab all the XP! Oh yeah, they do disappear after a while. More healing on damaged. Yup. So yeah, I guess pickup radius actually is pretty good then if you want as many shards as possible. Can I just take hits from this guy? Probably not. 36 each is decent amounts. Man, those things are getting really tanky now. How bad are the bullets? 18, that's not too bad. Another ability cooldown. I think I would actually pass on those if I was still going. But I think that's enough of the Vampire Thorns tank for now. We had 90% global damage with the shard thing, 32% damage reduction. 239% ability damage, 120% duration on it. And I think those are the main stats. 30% orb strength for the light orbs. Got one legendary, no artifacts. Not the greatest legendary. We didn't really have that much status stuff. I think just a little bit of frost stuff. Lots of healing based stuff and ability based stuff. So this is for the glitch upgrades. Chance of finding glitched upgrades when leveling up by 1%. That seems not the greatest. A clone which mirrors your movement and weapon attacks. That sounds kind of cool. More burn-based stuff, overload-based stuff. And then there's the 5,000 charge ship. 20% chance to deal your current ability damage to a random enemy on pickup. 20% chance on hit to trigger feedback loop for 8 seconds. So I guess you stack shards and ability damage at the same time for that? Interesting. So 2 more here, what can I do with that? That sounds interesting. It's kind of hard to kill bosses without taking damage. Recycler. I guess we could try that. We don't have enough for any artifacts, so we can get a tiny amount of stats in the Paragon tree. I don't think any of those is super important. We can grab some fire rate and extra shot to apply on hit stuff a bit more often. Here. Not really sure. None of these seem super impactful. Oh, I guess that one's pretty good at the start, since that should work on all status stuff. Ability, duration, armor, reduce shop prices. Not really sure. Armor and shop prices are decent. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.